Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Hey kids, welcome to Grumpy Nostalgia, the Second Look Cinema Podcast, the show where we go back to the blockbuster new release wall of our memories, grab a copy off the shelf, pop it in the old VCR, and see what time has done to it. I'm Justin, that's Mike.
Welcome to the party, pal.
And we're here to help you navigate all the landmines littered down memory lane. So Mike, this will be the Grumpy Nostalgia Jet Lag edition.
Oh, yeah. This is one of those where you have to kind of come back to reality and watch a good action flick, you know.
Yeah, or this one. So me and Mike have been kind of in a suspended adolescence carnival for a while. We went to New York and saw Lord of the Rings, which was awesome. Got to spend a couple days together, me and Mike, best pals.
And I'm here to tell you that the Madison Square Garden is alive and well. It wasn't destroyed by Godzilla. It wasn't flooded by the Joker and Batman.
No,
it's still there.
The only real true threat in New York is those smelly Elmos that come around and proposition you for a picture. So we're a little worn out. We're back on a Sunday afternoon, our regular time, and so we're ready to knock one out. But I'm a little worried about Mike. I mean, I think just in the last 5 weeks, Mike's been to Charleston, Savannah, D.C., New York, and Madrid. And that's just the ones I can think of. What's up with that, Carmen Sandiego?
You get to a time in your life, you just want to see the world. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing. And, you know, and if you can't see the world, you watch a movie or two and just relive some of your older days and think about, think about the past. We're nostalgic, you know. I remember taking a lot of trips when I was a kid. So, you know, I'm doing it now as an adult.
What a great segue. So let's talk about a nostalgic movie, Mike. So this week we're going to talk about Cliffhanger from 1993. Your standard action movie trope, Mike. There's really only it's so formulaic. There's probably only about 3 different types of movies that in the action genre. This is the one I think would check the box for number 2, the template where you got your down on your luck guy who's in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Reluctant hero.
Yeah, he's got like a wife or girlfriend he's trying to make amends with, and then he kind of kills everybody in sequence, prioritized to their role in the stories. There's like 100 movies like this, but this one we thought was kind of interesting, so we're just going to get right into it. So as I mentioned, it was released on May 28th, 1993. It was written by Sylvester Stallone, who, you say what you want about, you know.
I know. He wrote Rocky, right? I mean, he wrote most of that screenplay.
He writes every movie he's in. He wrote all the Rockies. He wrote all the Rambos. He wrote the Cobras. He wrote, you name it.
Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. Did he do that?
He wrote that. Yeah. This was directed by, speaking of oof, this was directed by Rennie Harlan, who had directed Die Hard 2, Nightmare on Elm Street 4 was his big one. But he's unfortunately, Mike, more associated with the big bomb, Cutthroat Island, with his then wife Gina Davis, which lost, I think, a record $200 million.
Ruined his career, I hope.
Ruined his career. Came back to direct the Deep Blue Sea, the shark movie with Samuel L. Jackson and other people, which yeah,
Thomas Jane.
Yeah, so not necessarily the comeback. This was released with a $70 million budget back in 1993, Mike. So this is a big one.
Wow.
So
a lot of Italians.
Yeah. So speaking of Italians, it was set in the Colorado Rockies, but the Italian Alps kind of doubled for them. And speaking of Italian Alps, it features one of our greatest Italian actors. So Mike, why don't you just get through the cast for us, please?
Yes. Sly Stallone. You know, it goes without saying. I thank you for the tidbit about writing his own movies. I see him in a different light now. So, you know.
Yeah.
He's our hero, Gabe, our reluctant hero, who's I guess he's like part of the Rescue Rangers or something. And he's introduced right away in the movie as one of those, along with his buddy Michael Rooker, who was he Tucker or Walker? Or I always got confused on who was who in this movie.
I think he was Tucker.
Tucker. Okay. Well, watching this movie, I thought, was he? He wasn't.
He was Henry.
Henry. Yeah, serial killer Henry?
That's the one.
That's the one. In watching this movie, I kept expecting him to do a heel turn, you know. And
yeah.
or die. Michael Rooker usually dies in the shows or TV movie. Guardians of the Galaxy or Walking Dead, Tombstone, 8 Men. No, he doesn't die in 8 Men Out, but yeah, he's in that one too. He's the other quote unquote good guy with Sly Stallone, and the girl, the femme fatale in this movie is Janine Turner, who at the time was kind of the hottie of the day because she was in Northern Exposure. Other than this movie and that TV show, maybe she did some Lifetime movies after this. I don't know what else she was in.
She was in my heart, Mike.
Okay, I'm sure she was. Quite a cutie. Those are your protagonists, are good people. Enough about them. Let's talk about John Lithgow, who has quite a range on him. I remember the first movie I saw him in, and it was a really breakthrough role as like a transsexual. Was in A World According to Garp. And
it's great.
Really great role. And I was kind of my introduction. I know he'd been in a couple other, like, I don't know if he's in Ordinary People, but I think he was like in the Glitter Dome, and there was a couple other movies he was in. But he's done such a range. You think of him as a serious actor, but there's a lot of comedy. He's done the show Third Rock from the Sun. He did that for years on NBC, and he was the voice of like the bad guy in Shrek. So he appears in Dexter as a serial killer. You think Harry and the Hendersons. I just watched a movie on the way back from on a plane, Interstellar, and I forgot he was in that. And I was like, hey, wait, it's John Lithgow. And he's in so much stuff. It's crazy. But in this movie, one of the most, and we'll get to this later, one of the most over-the-top villains you'll ever see. The accent goes from here to there to here to there. It's English, it's South African, it's American. I don't know what happened to him in this movie. The slick back hair, too, that was a little off-putting.
That didn't work.
Then you have his gang of goons. They're just various actors. Don't worry about them.
Yeah.
I want to get to Zach Grenier. This is his third appearance on our podcast. This is our buddy Eddie from Twister.
Yeah.
He doesn't die in this movie.
No, he's almost reached 5-star status now, Mike. He's almost
there. Yeah, he's the wormy boss in Fight Club, and he's in this movie as I guess he's a treasury agent. I couldn't get it close if he was FBI or treasury T-man or something, but he's in here. And my obscure cast member of the week is Bruce McGill, who you would recognize him from Animal House or My Cousin Vinny. He's been in a lot of stuff, but you see him in this movie, you're like, hey, I know that guy. He's going to stick around. No, he's on the screen for maybe 1 or 2 minutes, and very disappointed. But other than that, that's pretty much your cast. There's a lot of just anonymous people who. Oh wait, except for Ralph Waite, who if you ever watch The Waltons, he's the same exact role in this movie, except he paints and he dies in an awesome slow motion scene. But that's neither here nor there. So
wonderful.
There's your cast.
Well, thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. Just a couple other notes on that cast and some other news of note on this movie. Stallone wanted to face his fear of heights, so he actually took this project in to help him deal with the phobia he had, which you notice a lot of that's really him climbing, and they use really long lenses and stuff with the pullback to show that he did have some stunt doubles for the occasional dangerous thing, but a lot of this was Sly on the mountain.
Yeah, that worked. The only there's only 1 or 2 scenes where you could tell it was his stunt double along with John Lithgow's stunt double in a wig. But other than that, though, that was impressive. I'll give it a check mark for that.
This movie has been dubbed Rambo on Ice, Die Hard on a Mountain.
Yeah, the Nakatomi Mountains.
Yeah. A lot of that climbing that Stallone did was so well done that a lot of the test audiences thought it was fake and started laughing at it. So they had to kind of reshoot the scenes to make them a little more believable. But yeah. This movie was rated R. It had 34 F words, Mike, and the body count was 17, so right up our alley.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so when this movie came out in 1993, some movies in the theater were Hot Shots Part 2 and Sliver, Mike, Sliver.
Sharon Stone.
Yeah.
No, and the other Baldwin boy. Yeah, that was a terrible one.
Yeah. So this movie was released the same weekend as Super Mario Brothers. Which is fantastic.
Wow.
And that Made in America, the Ted Danson, Whoopi Goldberg,
and Ted Danson in blackface, fantastic.
Yeah, with that started one of the greatest romances of the 20th century. They fell in love over this movie. But 2 weeks later, after this movie was released, Jurassic Park came out, and that just kind of took care of all the other movies for us of that summer. But it did manage to be the 9th highest box office in 1993.
Goodness.
1993 there was a lot of stuff going on in 1993, Mike. Songs on the radio. The big one was "Freak Me" by Silk. Yeah. Informer by Snow. The Licky Boom Boom guy. Who found out that his song hit #1 while he was in jail. Mike. He was in prison at the time. And That's the Way Love Goes with Janet Jackson, who seems like she's always on the charts whenever we're talking about a movie in the 90s. Big movies that were other books that we were reading when we couldn't get ourselves to the theater was The Client by John Grisham, who
that figures.
Publishes by the pound. Similarly, Dolores Claiborne by Stephen King. Mike, your favorite book, The Bridges of Madison County. Robert James Walker came out. And The Virgin Suicide by Jeffrey Eugenides came out, which later to be adapted by actress supreme Sofia Coppola.
Yeah.
We were playing Magic the Gathering. That's when that first came out, Mike, the card game.
Yes, love it.
Beanie Babies were starting to explode, Mike. Beanie Babies.
Still got a closet full of them.
Do you? So do I. They're worth nothing. If you think you got Beanie Babies at home that are worth something, you're wrong. They're worth nothing.
Nothing.
The ad campaign Got Milk started that year. You could get your first supersize menu at McDonald's.
Oh. 5 years later, we had the highest obesity rating in the world.
There you go. Speaking of obese, Prince lost his title. He became the artist formerly known as Prince.
The sign.
As a
symbol, whatever that thing is.
As a way to refute his Sony contract. So we all know how well that turned out. And my favorite story of 1993 was there was a small group of domestic terrorists that got into the G.I. Joe factory, the toy factory, where they also created the Barbie dolls. And someone got in there and swapped out the voice command module inside each one of those.
Oh, wow.
So it was kind of a protest for the feminization of Barbie and the making Barbie, accept traditional women's roles. So they decided to swap the voice chip in each one of those. So G.I. Joe ended up saying want to go shopping. And Barbie ended up saying, if you eat lead, cobra. But several thousands of those units hit store shelves, and if you have one now, consider yourself lucky. But that was my favorite story.
Be worth more than a Beanie Baby.
My less favorite story from 1993 was Cliffhanger. So let's get started, Mike. Are you ready to jump in?
Let's hit the theater.
All right, hit the button, Mike. So our movie opens up with a helicopter. We get to the chopper immediately, Mike. And it's piloted by desperately cute pixie Janine Turner. Yeah. And Dry Eye spokesperson, by the way, Mike. She plays the character Jess.
Jess. I can never remember her name for this movie. Yeah. Oh, gosh.
So she's flying through. So she's flying through the mountains, and apparently that she's there to rescue the aforementioned Michael Rooker. He's up on the top of this rock structure with a strained knee. He's been injured. He's got the flare going on, and he decided to bring his girlfriend. And then the winds start picking up, so they can't do a traditional winch rescue, Mike. So Janine lands on a peak across the valley, and they decided it would be easier for those two to just do zip line across the peaks over 4,000 feet, rather than just have the girl climb back down the way she came. So, and they, like I said, they use the long lenses here to prove that the actors are really up there. It was kind of cool. And there's some really cool cinematography given the location. Camera work is really good here. Gabe kind of runs the cable across. Gabe played Sylvester Stallone. He kind of runs the cable across the two peaks, and then Hal takes the lead and he zip lines across, no problem. And then they send the winch back to Sarah, and she gets about halfway, Mike, and then the class starts to give way. Her rigging starts to come loose, and she starts to snap, and she's hanging on the cliff, Mike. Hence Cliffhanger. Gabe, Sylvester Stallone, in a desperate attempt to try to rescue her, kind of slides across, and shimmies over there to try to grab her, and he grabs on her hand just as she's about to fall. And this is where the movie does something a little bit different than most traditional action movies. This is usually the time where the movie shows what a hero is, right? But they went another way, Mike. She actually gets dropped. She falls to her death.
Bye,
It's
Sarah.
a little disturbing. So R.I.P. Sarah. And of course, this doesn't set well with the people involved, and it's dramatic, and they fade out.
8 months later.
Yeah, then we jump 8 months later. We jump to the Denver Mint, where they're printing out thousands and thousands of dollars, which I think in real life, Mike, the Denver Mint only produces coins, but that's a nerd fact that no one cares about other than us. But we meet Treasury Agent Travers with his North Texas drawl, one of my favorite characters in this movie. He's getting ready to transport some of these $1,000 bills that are now in circulation. He's a Treasury agent, and he agrees to take on an extra agent on to kind of plane hop for a ride. And then so that they're kind of setting up these. They have these big suitcases full of $1,000 bills. Meanwhile, back in Colorado, we see Gabe driving his little Jeep back. He's all sullen and riddled with guilt, and he's coming back in to try to close up the loose ends. And of course, there's a big storm coming in. Like, it's very ominous coming in. Meanwhile, back on the plane, Mr. Travers does his heel turn. We use that term a lot. For those that aren't familiar, that is a wrestling term. That's when the good guy turns into a bad guy, the heel. So we're here to teach as well as entertain, Mike. So,
sometimes.
As they're flying across, the guest agent sees this plane flying adjacent to them, and that's not supposed to happen on these things. And then next thing you know, Travers starts shooting everybody, and it's a robbery. Mike, he's turned to the bad side. Yeah. And so he kills the crew, and they kind of rendezvous with the partner plane. That's where John Lithgow is. Eric plays Eric Quaylen, a rogue ex-MI6.
Okay.
He's from MI6 because he uses a lot of Bostons. Everybody's a Boston. But the plane kind of gets hijacked, and they run a cable. They got to think about running cables from one place to the other. So they kind of fly in alignment, and then they kind of offload all these cables into this John Lithgow's plane. But the agent is half dead, but he kind of comes back to life and starts shooting up everybody that's left. He starts shooting up the plane that contains the bad guys, and
money plane. Yes.
Yeah, and then in the act of transferring all these cartons of money over, the cable breaks, and all these suitcases full of $1,000 bills kind of land. I think 3 of them land across the Rocky Mountains. And there's a plane crash, obviously, and it looks like someone's train set diorama gets destroyed. The miniatures here were pretty bad, the special effects of that plane crash, but the cash gets spilled all over the mountains, but they've got like a little LoJack in them, so they think they can eventually track them down. So after the plane crash, the bad guys get out of the plane. They try to take assessments of where they are, and Agent Travers here, he's got a kind of a short fuse, Mike. Lithgow wants to kill him, but Travers is the only guy that knows the code.
Countermeasures,
so he keeps him alive. So they keep Agent Travers along to recoup the money for tracking. So they put in a phony distress call up the mountains, and then, of course, that goes back to Rocky Mountain Rescue, and that's where Gabe and Hal are. And Gabe and Hal don't talk anymore, obviously, because of the issue with Gabe dropping his girlfriend. Hal's girlfriend. Yeah, he didn't like that. But they convince Gabe to stay, but he doesn't want to do it because, he doesn't want to climb anymore. And according to him, you just lose the feel. Remember, he don't want to climb anymore.
No, but he's sullen.
But Hottie Janine talks him into doing it, and he says, "I'm leaving after this." But so he climbs up the hill where he thinks the distress call has been made. Then meanwhile, back at the airport, the treasury agents you get a little exposition here from Eddie from Twister. He kind of explains that the backstory about Eric Quaylen, and it's a setup. He's explaining to Paul Winfield, Travers' boss at the time, about Eric Quaylen has connections where he can actually move the money, and he's a bad guy, and it just kind of sets up the movie. So there's a bunch of money on the mountain, and Stallone's got to go up there and try to save these people, and then all hell breaks loose, Mike.
I got a couple of questions about these. I mean, besides it being the worst setup for Deal or No Deal with the cases and all that, why is the money like untraceable numbers on it? I never understood why exactly. Like they even make a comment when Eddie's talking to Winfield there about he can't even use the money because it's has marked numbers or something. What was the point of even moving this money? I guess the whole motivation of the money being transferred is kind of confusing to me. I know
because Lithgow had connections. Like,
okay,
he could move. He was one of the few people in the world that could move it.
He can move. Okay,
he can move it.
Yeah, he did this in South Africa, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He's the bastard that can move the money. So Gabe and Hal get reinvited up on the top of the mountain, and that doesn't go very well. They don't like each other, but they end up going to the plane, and then instead of rescuing the Lithgow's party, they actually get kidnapped, and they get forced to because they know the Rockies so well, they get forced to look at the monitor and the screen, and they have to guide the party to where the money is, so that now they're hostages, Mike.
Yes, and I didn't know if you noticed it, but one of the climbing scenes when Stallone was on the way, we put his hat on backwards, and it reminded me of a certain movie that he may have written where he's an arm wrestler.
Don't tease it, Mike. We'll be talking for weeks about that movie.
All right.
Put a lid on it, brother. I want to go there too, but we got to show control.
All right.
Lithgow, I'm just going to say Quaylen. So Quaylen kind of makes Stallone climb up the ridge to get the money, and they take his coat for insurance, and all he has they tie a rope to him, and he has to go fetch the money.
Why do all the bad guys have to go with Quaylen? What they're walking on a really narrow, maybe 1.5 2 foot wide ridge there. Why?
Yeah.
Why the pilot? Why do that? Why risk that? I don't understand.
Well, let's work it through. Maybe we'll come up with an answer.
Cool. But I'll ask Quaylen.
So Stallone's pretty savvy, and they know they're going to kill him when he gets back down. So Hal screams, "It's a trap! Just keep going!" And they punch the crap out of Hal. Hal's just there to get beat up most of the movie. But Stallone gets free, and then of course they shoot the snow peaks above them to cause a nice little avalanche, but they survive. But Gabe escapes now. He's Bruce Willis in Die Hard now. He's on the mountain. He's by himself.
Without his jacket. He has shoes, but he didn't have his jacket, so he's a little bit different.
Right. He does end up meeting with Jess on the top of the mountain, and they kind of spend the night in a cabin and try to talk about the plan. And he lets her know what's going on. In the meanwhile, Beavis and Butthead were in the movie here.
Oh yeah, you didn't mention those guys.
These snowboarders who are Gabe's friends are up there.
Gabe, the Extreme Boys.
So they end up seeing Gabe, and they're in the wrong place at the wrong time because one of them gets killed, and the other guy kind of parachutes off.
That was the most rewarding part of the movie for me is when that first guy.
Usually I'm not for seeing teenagers get shot and killed, but this one I didn't feel too bad about it, just because how many times we get it. You're 90s surfer, you're 90s extreme
radical
snowboarder dude. But that sets off Gabe.
Did you know that they hate work even when someone else is doing
it? Yes, and I hate them, so it all works out. But the rest of the movie is, at this point, it's kind of set up. So the rest of the movie is kind of just dismantling the team one by one, getting all the bad guys killed, with some intermittent rock climbing and a lot of guano, Mike.
Bats. Yes, love that.
There's a scene where the actor named Leon gets stalactited.
Just Leon.
Not stalagmited, Mike, but stalactited. But he deserves it because he laid a hand on Janine Turner, so he deserved that. There's a scene where Hal actually stops getting beat up for 5 seconds and then turns the tables. There's a guy named Delmar in the party who's a striker. He's the soccer hooligan.
For the penalty kick.
Yeah, and if he did play, as he claimed he did, he wouldn't call it soccer, Mike. He would call it, of course, football. But he played it soccer, and he gets shot by Hal, which that he finally stopped getting beat up.
And no one's worried about causing an avalanche. There's so much yelling and shooting, explosions.
Yeah, Oh, that's
you would think that would be a concern, especially all the screaming that's being done in this movie. But hey,
yeah.
What do I know?
Over the course of the movie, the bad guys, the cast kind of gets thinned out, and at the end, you're just kind of left with Eric Quaylen, I guess his alleged girlfriend, who is the pilot, and he plays the speed hotshot theory.
Oh yeah,
where Quaylen. In a bargaining attempt at a standoff where they finally kind of meet each other and have this big confrontation. Quaylen shoots his pilot for leverage.
The Travers guy was going.
He wanted to be the only pilot, yeah.
Right? Yeah. He's like, well, there goes your pilot. Now what are you gonna? I'm the only one you have left, so I guess we're partners now. Yeah. But before that, she shoots the Walton, or she's the one who fools the Walton guy to show up, and then Delmar shoots Uncle Ralph Waite. Turns
out Lithgow's a pilot too. That's why he shot his girlfriend. So they fly now, Mike. They fly now.
They fly now.
So at the end, Travers is venting, and he's a very frustrated guy. He gets separated, and he's trying to find the last container of money, and he can't. And he gets on a CB on the open channel and starts yelling at Quaylen as the Fed's choppers start coming in. Calls him a son of a bitch about 50 times. Quaylen, you son of a bitch. Quaylen. He continues to go on that, but he's quickly shut down by Stallone, who shoots him with a hydraulic ice pick under the ice. So R.I.P. Agent Travers. And so we're down to the last villain here, and that's Lithgow, and he's kidnapped Jess, which is an affront to everybody's sense of good taste, and he ends up bargaining for the last container, which Gabe has finally accessed, and he says, I'll give you the money, but you got to let Jess go. And then he lets Jess go. The easily bamboozled Eric Quaylen lets Jess go. And Stallone throws the last bit of money up into the chopper, and it shreds it all up.
Oh,
and meanwhile, he's hitched the cable to He's hitched a cable to the ladder and put a leash on the helicopter, and then the helicopter blows up. And curses. The last look in John Lithgow's eyes is that he knows he's been outsmarted by Gabe. And then it's smashy. And the feds show up right on time, Mike.
Oh, I know, right? And all three heroes survive.
Yeah, miraculously, Hal survived. To go anti-trope here, I thought Hal was a dead man.
Did you notice how all his shiny white teeth were still in place? They didn't become chiclets on the ice.
Not a drop of blood or anything like that. It was fantastic. But the closing credits come out, and the movie's over. And we watch all the credits. We find out that Thor, the dog Thor, was played by Thor.
Thor by Thor.
Was that your Thor was played by Thor?
No, my takeaway from the credits was not only was it longer than the Planet of the Apes one, which I just said in the last podcast was the longest end credits I've ever seen. This just beat it. And there was a Cliffhanger video game that came out apparently, which I hope it flopped. That's all I can say. I never seen it. Well, heard of it.
Okay, well, I'm going to out myself. That came out on the Sega 32X Genesis, which I had, and I played it, and it was garbage.
Yay.
But it did have a never-ending loop of the Cliffhanger theme, played over and over and over. Did you notice they should have an overture, because that Cliffhanger theme they had a sad version of it, they had a happy version of it, they had a jaunty version of it, they had a heroic version of it. But it stinks. All right, so let's get
nauseous. I just felt nauseous when I saw those credits. I was like, did I just watch this? But go ahead. I know this movie did great at the box office, so I'm not.
It did. So
nothing I can say.
So speaking of that, so awards and accolades, Mike. It had a $16 million opening weekend. Ended up doing $84 million domestically, which at that time wasn't too terrible. But worldwide, it did $255 million. So did quite well. It did spawn a video game. You're right. To some success. Did not win any awards. It was nominated for a couple Oscars, however. Actually, 3 Oscars. Best sound effects, editing, and visual effects. But they unfortunately were in the wrong place at the wrong time. This is the year that Jurassic Park came out.
Good.
So this is the year that Jurassic Park won all the technical categories, and Schindler's List won everything else. So nobody really stood a shot. So. Except the boys at MTV, Mike. It did get nominated for Best
the
action
radical
sequence
with the radical guys when they jumped off the mountain or when they got
Yeah,
shot.
no, actually, it was the catwalk scene though, where the girl gets killed. So MTV thought that was action, watching a young woman fall to her death.
Great, thank you, MTV.
Hit it out of the park again, guys. Keep it up.
Doing great.
So, all right, so that's kind of the aftermath here. But so let's talk more about on a personal level, Mike, what the aftermath was. So why don't you go? Well, actually, let me go first because I have a suspicion that you're going to come in with a different viewpoint. So
the senator yields you 5 minutes because I may need some extra time.
I'm reclaiming my time. So, the first time I saw this was the Friday it came out in 1993, and I just really and I liked it, and I'm not ashamed of it. And there's a couple reasons why. One is I had taken my final college course, my final exam, and I had just finished school, and it was all over. And that was adjacent to me. I just got over a breakup. I finally had some closure on that. Going through a breakup in your finals week was good, but I kind of put all that stuff to bed. And I was a 22-year-old kid, and I thought, the world's my oyster now. I've got everything in my rear view. There's nothing but opportunity. So I went to go see a movie to celebrate, as I usually did back in those days. And I ended up going to there's a theater adjacent to Eastern Illinois, my alma mater, in Mattoon, Illinois, home of Lender's Bagels Factory, Mike. And
Go Panthers.
The original, there's a McDonald's hamburger place that is not the McDonald's chain. It's the only one in the country that can claim itself as McDonald's. But
it's not McDowell's.
It's not McDowell's. But they had a little rinky-dink theater, and I remember seeing this movie, and I was there by myself. I was the only guy in the theater, and it was just a beautiful day. And school was done, and I was watching this big movie on a big screen and by myself, and it was just I just had a good experience, a good association with it. Okay, so I watched it again a couple nights ago, and okay, so. As you know, I don't think I gave it a 4 out of 5 like I did my first view. I probably knocked it down to a 2.5 out of 5. But I didn't completely disavow it. This falls into what I call the dumb butt theory. It's dumb, but there are some things that I enjoyed on. There are some movies that just cannot escape people's association with it. No matter what they are, people will like a movie based on non-traditional, unconventional reasons. I remember when I used to work at Blockbuster, I worked with a guy named Bob who said that Jumping Jack Flash with Whoopi Goldberg was his favorite movie.
Bob's stupid.
But, well, of course, and I argue with Bob.
That's his opinion.
And I argue with Bob for quite some time, mostly all night. And as I was landing blows upon him in the parking lot, later, it occurred to me that everybody has that movie that it could be categorized as a guilty pleasure. It could be categorized as an irrational thing, but everybody has a movie that they love, that they're ashamed of, or they don't want to talk about or admit. And unfortunately, Cliffhanger just kind of falls into that movie. It's formulaic, it's tropey, it's all the things that there's 100 movies, action movies just like this that I hate. But for some reason, Mike, as they said in Brokeback, I can't quit you. I just can't. I can't quit this movie for some reason. It just has a special place in my heart. I know it's dumb, but there it is. So that's kind of my feeling. So it did go down, but it's still the thing that I'll probably watch again. And I've got some closure on it. So there it is. Nice. Mike, I'm suspecting you're not as gracious.
Well, first thing I want to know is, did Bob wear a bra? No, just had a meatloaf. Had a meatloaf flashback there for a second. No, all kidding aside, what you just said kind of, I feel bad now for being the one that has to come in after you because,
no, I mean, bring the pain, man.
No. What you just said kind of defines nostalgia. What we do. It really, like Jumping Jack Flash. 99 out of, or I'm being charitable. 999 out of 1,000 people would say that movie stinks, but Bob loved it. And a movie like this, Cliffhanger, a lot of it depends on where you saw it, how you saw it, what you were going through, and that even watching it a second time 30 years later, 30 years, doesn't make it all go away. You still have the good feelings and the good, you have kind of a charitable outlook on it. And like I say, after hearing that, I'm like, wow, okay, I'm going to try to be a little more charitable in what I say. I've never seen this movie before until a couple of days ago. I was working a art show, and across the aisle from me was a guy that was selling big screen TVs. It doesn't sound like an art show, but it was. And on this screen, they were re-showing scenes from a couple movies. GoldenEye was one of them, I distinctly remember. And the other one was Cliffhanger. And they were doing it to show the aspect of their big screen and how well it showed Sylvester Stallone climbing. And you see just a few scenes from the movie, and you get a general good impression of it, just seeing the scenes without the sound, which really helped me. Visually, it's an appealing movie, is what I'm saying.
It's a movie. It's a movie. It's not a Netflix special premiere. It's a real movie.
Yeah, exactly. And that part of it's I can appreciate, But then when I hear a phrase come from the movie, there were several things that got me bothered. Like how did they find the second case without a tracker? What was the point of a tracker if Sylvester Stallone can just use his spidey sense and find it, right there? Things like that.
He saw the location of all three.
He saw the location on what looked like our TDS, TRS 40 computer screen. Oh yeah, and he picked it out. So. He was within a couple of feet of it. I mean, come on.
All right. Okay.
I mean, what was the point in having never mind. Just that, and just there's a lot of just things like that just bother me. But what got me the most was when John Lithgow says, "Not rise and shine, gentlemen. We have work to do." Well, that was stupid. But when he says, "Kill a few people and they call you murderer. Kill a million, they call you conqueror." Something clicked in my head, and I was like, "Wait, I know this line." And I realized it was almost a aped line from Die Hard, where Hans Gruber says something like, "Steal a few $100 and you disappear. Yeah. Steal something million and." They'll come after you. And I was like, wait a second. And then I started, I kind of knew it was a Die Hard. It was obviously he was picking off people one by one. There's terrorists. There's your reluctant hero. But then I started writing this shit down. Excuse my language. Cut.
I'll allow it. But be careful, Mike.
The Die Hard flashbacks were almost too much for me at that point. I was like, okay, wait. They got they're clowning each other on walkie-talkies. You have, obviously, the reluctant hero. You have, in quotes, foreign terrorist. You have, pithy and funny little sayings back and forth. You have agents in a helicopter. You have a guy missing an item of clothing. You have a female that's held hostage. And I was just, and then there was the most obvious point of, you just have the terrorists being picked off one by one until finally the bad guy falls off the side of a mountain instead of a building. And I guess that bothered me more than anything. It was just a rehash, and we complain about this with movies today, with the reimagining and such.
Yeah.
That's what bothered me the most. On its own, as I think I said the same thing about another movie about just seeing it in a vacuum. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's not bad. I have problems with Stallone just because he's, it just doesn't. He just doesn't fit in certain situations, like as a Rocky Mountain ice climber. It's hard.
Nah.
It doesn't work. Or as a country singer in Rhinestone, nah. But as a arm wrestling champion and over the top, maybe a cop in Copland, he worked for that. But this one, I couldn't get over that, and for me, that was the hard part. And like I said, this seemed like more of a Christmas movie than Die Hard, but it couldn't, fill Die Hard shoes for me.
Right.
And I didn't
That's
like.
Fair.
Quaylen was not Hans Gruber. When
it unapologetically steals from Die Hard because they know the people that made this know that the adults that go see this movie don't care.
Well,
that's myself included.
And the director for this movie had just done Die Hard 2 a couple of years before this, so it's like, hey,
by design. Yeah,
look at that. Yeah. Oh, Stallone wrote the screenplay. It's in the mountains. Oh my gosh, it involves terrorists that want something. Oh my goodness, and they're all, of course, they're vaguely like European. So I don't.
Yeah.
But it was. But like I said, the mitigating factors with me would be visuals, and it's the if you've been to the Rocky Mountain National Park, you kind of know this isn't the Rocky Mountains, but it's the Dolomites. It's okay. It was a great setting for a movie. I'm glad there were a lot of Italians that got paid to work on this movie, so that's good too.
Yes, yeah.
But anyway, I guess that was for me. It's two. Let's say 2.5 stars. I would recommend it for people, even though I don't like it. But that's because if you're a big fan of Die Hard, I would say maybe skip this one. Just watch Die Hard or Die Hard 2. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's fair enough. Well, one of the things that I think we can, even though we had different views on the movie, I think there's the consensus we do have, Mike, is we both enjoyed the fact that there was a wacky, over-the-top villain. We really appreciate a really bad villain. That's just, that's chocolate and peanut butter for us. So that got the boys here at Grumpy Nostalgia thinking about a topic for our this week's segment of You Just Made the List, Pal. We want to take a look at our top 3 favorite over-the-top movie villains. Not just movie villains in general, but ones that kind of went beyond the pale. Darth Vader is a villain, but he's not over the top. But there are instances out there where somebody decided that they're going to go try hard on it. And so, Mike, I think it's only fair that you start the festivities. Let's kind of go back and forth and talk about our top favorite over-the-top villains in movie history.
Yes, thank you. Prerequisite for me on this one was like comic book villains. You talk about a role that would be tailor-made for an over-the-top villain. It would be basically pick anybody from a comic book. Either Lex Luthor, Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze, or even Hugo Weaving as Red Skull and Captain America. I mean, obvious. But my favorite is Ming the Merciless from Flash Gordon. Max von Sydow is fantastic. He's the guy who blows up worlds. He even tortures his own daughter, and he has the best delivery. There's nothing to not like about it. Every time he's on the screen. This movie is so poorly made and so campy that it's so lovable. It's like a puppy dog that's rolled around the mud. You can't help but love it. And he kind of makes it as this really campy, comic. He's a villain straight from the comic book pages, and I loved it.
Right. Yeah, that's a great pick. Always will have a soft spot for that movie, Mike. I think it's time we just covered it and just got off the pot and did it at some point. But we'll get to that. So, my first one is a little different take. One of my favorite villains of all time is Gary Oldman as Norman Stansfield from Leon the Professional.
Yeah,
he plays a kind of corrupt detective in that just every scene he's like whacked out on cocaine. And he's trying to bring in Jean Reno from his white suits, his tan suits, to his constant sweating, to his crazy hair. My favorite line, Mike, when he's finally got Jean Reno on the run, and he asks one of his lieutenants to bring everyone in, and the lieutenant says, "Everyone?" And of course, Goldman goes, "Everyone!" As he screams it as loud as he can with such diction. It's just wonderful. And he was just beyond the pale in this movie, but just great. And it's kind of a pattern for him, but this one was one of my favorites. So Gary Oldman in The Professional was my first one.
And that was Leon, not just Leon. Was it Leon or Leon? Leon. Yeah, that's a good one. You could pick up several movies of Gary Oldman, and that leads me to my actor, who this guy. There's several movies I could have picked. The one that comes to mind the most is One I Hope We Do Soon. And anyway, let me name some of these movies, and let's see if you can guess the actor by the time I get to the third choice.
Okay.
Battlefield Earth.
John Travolta.
Swordfish. The Punisher. But my favorite John Travolta over-the-top villain would be Broken Arrow. And we were just talking about how Cliffhanger is kind of a ripoff of Die Hard. Well, Broken Arrow is kind of the ripoff of The Rock, and involves stealing weapons and blowing up something, and it's a ex-military guy going rogue. He's disenchanted, but he is amazing in this movie. I recommend this highly. So, John Travolta, Broken Arrow.
Just the Cheshire Cat grin when he says, "Ain't it cool?"
Ain't it cool? Yeah, I know, right? Oh, he had a little phase there in the late '90s, early 2000s where he was just
he lost his way.
Yeah, he went wacky,
he went right off the rails. So that's a good segue to my next one, Mike. You could say this about any of his performances, just like you could with with Gary Oldman. But I'm going to go with John Malkovich as one you might not suspect, as Teddy KGB in the movie Rounders.
No. Don't splash the pile. Don't splash the pail.
Yeah. So he played the a Russian, I guess it was Russian. That accent,
sort of
was he painted around the edges of it.
It was like John Lithgow's English accent in Cliffhanger.
Yeah. But he plays like the bad guy, the poker player that kind of runs his own little syndicate and gives poor Ed Norton a lot of problems, and sweet little Matt Damon
he loves Oreos. He loves his Oreos too, man.
Yeah, he ended up taking Matt Damon for all his money and kind of putting him in the situation he was in that movie. But he has a tell, Mike. When he has a certain hand, he eats his Oreos a certain way, and Matt Damon found that out. And he ends up getting beat at the end of the movie and loses all his money back to Matt Damon. And he concludes by saying the line,
"Pay that man his money."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's extra Y in man and money, but he just plays this real jerk. I could have picked any movie he's been in, even the one where he's not on the bad side of it. But right. I'm going to go with John Malkovich as Teddy KGB.
Cool deal. Yeah. Well, I'm going to complete the circle here. We just talked about Cliffhanger and how it was kind of a rehash of Die Hard. I got a movie that is a rehash of Cliffhanger, and it goes back to a guy that created a movie called Time Chasers, which some people will know it as a Mystery Science Theater movie. David Giancola made a movie in 2000 called Icebreaker. And it stars a couple of our old friends, Bruce Campbell, Sean Astin, and Stacy Keach. And Sean Astin is a ski patrolman. And
of course he is.
Yes. And he's our reluctant hero in this movie. Bruce Campbell is bald, and he's a really over-the-top villain. And he's vaguely European, and he has a gang of goons that are also vaguely European that take this whole ski resort hostage, including Stacy Keach, who's a doddering dad of a girl that wants to marry Sean Astin, if you can believe it. But Sean Astin, who's our ski patrolman, has to basically evade the terrorists and picks them off one by one. And he has a meeting with Bruce Campbell, who believe it or not, Bruce Campbell blows up a helicopter in this movie. Shocking, I know, right? And he gets his comeuppance from Sean Astin, Samwise Gamgee, and everything goes out okay. But in the middle, Bruce Campbell delivers some fantastic lines. He chews the scenery. He wants countermeasures. It's great. And I wouldn't recommend the movie, but just to see Bruce Campbell bald, you got to watch Icebreaker.
Nice. Does Sean Astin eat any taters?
Mash them, bake them, put them in a stew.
Yes. Potatoes. All right, well, Mike, thank you very much for that one, Mike. I think my last one, I'm going to kind of go old school here. I had a couple honorable mentions. Dennis Hopper as Frank Booth in Blue Velvet's up there. Mike Myers as Dr. Evil. Mike Myers as Dr. Evil is one of my favorite ones. But I'm going to go with Bette Davis as Baby Jane Hudson in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. Over the top. Probably. Middle-aged woman dressing up as a doll was pretty creepy. A lot of cold cream on that face, really crazy eyes. But she spends the entire movie torturing her paraplegic sister, Joan Crawford. And this is just really kind of it's a classic movie everybody knows, but if you really sit down and watch it, it's really, you feel kind of dirty watching it. It's just very upsetting and very, very, but she's just great. And one of my favorite lines, there's the classic scene where she serves her sister a dead rat under a silver platter. But one of the creepiest things in here is Joan Crawford's commiserating about, if I weren't in this chair, you'd be in. If only I wasn't in this chair, I'd had my revenge. But Betty Davis says, but you are in that chair, Jane.
Yeah.
You are in that chair. She was just maniacal. Even at the ending where they're on the beach and they kind of imply that they're getting captured. Just the crazy just kicks in. But Betty Davis, it's not a revelation to say that she's a great actress, but this is one of my favorite roles she was in. She was certainly over the top as a villainess, if that's such a thing. But
yes.
That's my final pick, Betty Davis, Mike.
And as a tie into Cliffhanger, my honorable mention was Kelsey Grammer in Money Plane. Enjoy.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I think that's probably the best way to segue into getting out of here. We want to thank everybody for listening again. We have a bit of a call to action here for our what they say in the podcast biz, a call to action. We're coming up on the year anniversary of our show, and our downloads are kind of increasing, and we're getting a bigger audience, and we're really kind of excited by the traffic and the traction we've kind of managed to maintain here. So, if you've been a regular listener to the show, go find one friend and tell them about it, and try to follow the show where you can on whatever platform. We'd really appreciate that. But we're just very excited about the amount of downloads we've been getting, and we just really want to kind of grow the show, because what we're finding is as we get this opportunity to get bigger, we start to meet new people and have some discourse with other people, and that's just really a benefit we didn't see when we first started this thing over a year ago. So, as a function of our 1 year anniversary, we've got a couple of announcements. So one is we're working on getting a website started so we can have like fan forums and have a discussion group, et cetera, and get all that going. We have some new guests coming up in the coming weeks. We're excited to announce we've got some additional listeners that want to be part of the show. So we're going to record some episodes with those guys. Molly's coming back in a couple of weeks, so we're very excited to have Molly back. So we reached out to her. I saw an Instagram video of her jumping off a roof, jackass style. But Molly is this
radical,
this incredible person that's just kind of living not off the grid, but just living a great existence in Alaska. Just we're just kind of jealous of her lifestyle. But she's going to be coming back to join us. We can't wait to talk to her about another movie. The ladies from Secondhand Nostalgia, we met with them in New York, and they're talking about coming back and having a collaboration with us. So we'll be looking forward to that in the coming weeks. And the big one here is we're hoping we can potentially get some YouTube content out. Me and Mike thought our faces were too beautiful for just radio. So we're considering starting a YouTube channel where we'd kind of add a different element of media to our show and see if we can get that started. So that's on the horizon for us, not tomorrow or not the next day, but in our future, we hope to get that out. So all kinds of cool stuff coming up. And a couple of shows from now will be the end of our second season. And we never thought we'd make it this far, but the numbers are there, and me and Mike haven't got tired of it. And thankfully, there's plenty of movies to talk about. So we just really want to thank everybody that's been helping us with our numbers, and it's just been a lot of fun. So we appreciate that. So there you go. So Mike, anything else before we head out?
Yippee-ki-yay.
Baby, he lies. He's laughing at him. So for Mike James, this is Justin, and we'll see you again next time.